Hey everybody, this is Diane and Mouse in the House. Welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell, and he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 10 times.
And this is Brian just trying not to get stabbed here. The Pokemon Master himself has returned for his annual mid-season finale.
Your wife let you into the basement.
Yeah, I'm locked in a little closet here so my voice doesn't travel through the house. I got 3 bedrooms up above me, right? So it's like there's a kid in one room, a kid in another room, and then the boss is in the other one. And if I wake up any of them, my ass is grass. So I got to be chill.
We can't make you laugh too much.
Well, that's why I'm hiding in this little closet dungeon. So there's no air vents to carry the sound throughout the house.
You're officially a whisperer.
I am indeed.
That's so funny. Well, we are here, as Bryce said, to talk about the mid-season finale, Season 10, Episode 8, The World Before. So, Bryce, since you are the guest, what's your rating?
So, my rating was a 4.15 alpha glaring head tilts out of 5.
She really does have that motion, doesn't she?
It drives me nuts. Like, I'm so over it. Like, at first I thought it was like her being like testy, but now that I've pointed it out and you watch, she's always like squinting, glaring, tilting her head every time she's like trying to focus, and it drives me bananas now.
Maybe Alpha has presbyopia. Maybe she can't see.
Yeah, she's fooling everyone. She's actually blind.
Yes. She senses things like a bat.
It's really, really hard to wear glasses under your whisperer's mask. So
they fog over all the time.
Right?
And all of the disposable contact lenses have dried up this far into the ZA. Well, Marn, what's yours?
My rating is 4.5 Demons with a Sword.
I rated it lower than the both of you.
Wow.
Which really shocks me. So I rated it 3.81 books I've always intended to read out of 5.
So I came in over 4 because I didn't want to be the bad, negative Nancy coming in here after 10 episodes. I haven't been on here, and I come in and I'm just lowballing it. So I'm glad you were lower than me. That makes me feel better.
I just, all of the season has been good. This was my least favorite. Go ahead.
This is probably my second or third least favorite. I don't have a lot of notes, but I think it was a solid episode overall. And of course we ended on a cliffhanger.
I was going to say, it's kind of Walking Dead MO at this point, where the finales mid-season and series are always not as good as the 2 or 3 leading up to it. Always.
Yeah.
I think so too. They kind of hit it right before, and then the mid-season finale is kind of a downer.
Unless you're Glenn hiding underneath the dumpster. Maybe that was a catalyst of it all. Is everybody was so pissed off about Glenn under a dumpster for 6 months during the summer break and into the next season. And they're like, fine, we'll never do it again then.
That's right. They don't want to do anything risky with the mid-season finale. Well, so we're too early for numbers, which is kind of turning into a pattern for us. I guess that's a good pattern. So I have some numbers from last week. Walking Dead and Monday Night Football topped cable. 2 games, and ESPN SportsCenter beat out Walking Dead, so it was actually 4th in cable overall for the week, with a total of 3.31 million views on the Sunday. So, definitely not the highs that we saw, still hanging in there.
I maintain it's because everyone watches it online now.
It's because everybody's watching Disney Plus except me.
And me.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is just like you guys talked about last episode, it's DVR time, right? I mean, I think just in late fall, the numbers tend to dwindle anyways, just because people are busy doing other stuff. You got really good football on this year, stuff like that. So that's mine. I mean, I'm DVR 24/7 anymore. I have not watched this show live in 2 years.
I would have to say
community episodes?
I still watch it on the Sunday, but I don't watch it live nearly as often as I used to.
I kind of don't watch anything live, even
Right.
if it's like, even if I just start a half an hour into the show, because then you can fast forward through commercials.
That helps too.
Yeah.
Especially when your commercial breaks hit 6 minutes towards the last half of the show. Cough, Walking Dead. Cough.
Though there were a couple of good commercials during this episode.
There was one that caught me.
Yes. Yep. Let's see. Our title. I had a lot about the title. So our title was The World Before. What did you guys think?
I actually didn't get it until Talking Dead, and they mentioned it was the book that Judith was reading.
Oh, I totally didn't realize that. I was just kind of diving into what I thought it meant. So I missed that too, and I missed it on Talking.
Yeah, and on my rewatch, I still didn't see it. So I don't know if that was just a tidbit from the set or what, but I didn't spot it.
Well, so the thing that I thought was we got backstory. So we figured out who Dante was in the world before. We got a name and a family for Gamma. We had Aaron teaching Gracie about U.S. civilization. And he talked about finding that lost civilization with his boyfriend. And then, of course, we had Judith being the historian. And then,
that's right.
Then our link to the naval base, which is actually a real naval base.
That's right. Also, you could probably include Rosita talking about how she was before Coco.
Yes. I think she's being too hard on herself, quite honestly.
She's the new mom. They're always hard on themselves, aren't they?
Oh, they're nuts. They are nuts.
They're hard on themselves and everyone
console
else,
them. They're
right,
unreasonable.
Right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You can't deal with that kind of crap.
Well, Diane, I will have to defer to Brian on this one because Diane, I don't have kids. We're just nuts naturally all the time.
I don't know. The white 3-legged dog is insisting on being in my lap right now, so I kind of feel like I have a kid. I can put her in a kennel, though, and I know Brian can't do that with his, so...
No, well, you can. You just can't get caught.
Right.
Right. It's like smacking him on the nose with a rolled up paper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Same
you can,
thing.
just don't get caught.
I think there was some of that going on in the Eikenberry house the other night. I saw the note that got slipped under the door.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. So, for those of you who don't know, my son was being very naughty the other day, and him and his sister were playing in his room, and he likes to do stuff he's not supposed to when, he thinks that sound doesn't travel down the hallway to where you're sitting. He thinks if you're in a room,
where he gets that.
Yeah, I don't know, right?
Like Judith and Michonne. Brian, you know where it comes from.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's exactly what it is. So, all of a sudden I heard oh no, the light. And then I hear Layla, she's 3, she goes, I tell him, and just run. So then I'm like, what the hell did you do? Well, it was it's not a stuffed animal, it's more like a stuffed basketball, but it's super soft. It's got a lot of give to it. Well, he was throwing it and he hit the ceiling fan light with it. So the lights went out. So I'm like, all right, fine. What the heck? You better hope it's not broken, boy. And he's all scared. So I try to replace the light bulbs. Well, it's broken. The fan still works, but the lights don't.
Oh,
I pulled the string and done. I have no idea. I'm not an electrician. No. I fix Pokemon stuff, not electricity. So I have no idea. I'm like, that's it. Get your ass in your bedroom. You're done. You are done for the day. And it's 9:30 in the morning. I'm like, you're done for the day.
Oh my God.
No wonder the prisoner's note got slipped under your door.
Yeah. Well, no, that was out of his door. So he closed his bedroom door, and he has a little desk and art stuff in there so he can sketch out his feelings and, put what he feels on paper, right? So he wrote this note, and I just happened to be walking by to get something for Layla out of her room, and I see the notebook laying there on the floor. Because he knows if he opens the door and asks if he can come out, then he's in way bigger trouble. So I pick it up, and then just Dad, I was trying to tell you the truth. Something like, just listen to me, love a kid of yours. And it's just freaking ridiculous.
Oh my God. This is why I'm not a parent, because I would laugh hysterically and be like, okay, that was funny. You can come out of your room.
Oh, but that's the thing though. As soon as you crack a smile,
they know
they're just going to laugh and it makes it 10 times worse.
Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible. You can't.
Oh.
Damn kids.
Yeah, you've got a little Judith in Benny clothing.
Oh, man. Good thing he doesn't have a sword yet.
Yet.
Well, anything else on the title, you guys?
No, I think that covers it for me.
So our writer was a new writer to The Walking Dead. Her name is Julia Ruchman, Ruchman. And the thing that I found that was interesting about her is that she actually wrote for The Sun, which was that AMC Western with Pierce Brosnan. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Marn. I can't remember who else was involved with it.
The Whisperer, the captured Whisperer.
Oh, okay.
And his dad. Yeah.
Oh, right. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
She has 6 total writing credits, and her 4 other credits, honestly, I did not recognize. Maybe you guys will. American Odyssey, Covert Affairs, The Troop, The Assistants.
Nope.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, no.
But, this was a reasonable effort. As we have said for the last 10 episodes, or 8 episodes, it's certainly better than anything we saw in Fear this season. Then our director is a guy named John Dahl, Dahl, and he's got 58 director credits overall, but this is his first Walking Dead effort. And he has tons of stuff that I was familiar with. Yellowstone, Ray Donovan, Martin the Good Doctor, I Thought of You. Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Dexter, Hannibal, yeah, Breaking Bad. But here's a hilarious factoid about him. He started with Kool and the Gang videos.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And it wasn't even when Kool and the Gang was popular.
God, you're right. 1985.
Right.
Wow.
Kind of when they were past their heyday. I don't have a lot else for writer or director. I know that I tasked poor Marn with doing our featured cast member this week, as always.
And, kind of as usual, sometimes, there's not a lot about him personally. So our featured castmate this episode was Kevin Carroll, a.k.a. Virgil. He's got a Twitter, he's got an Instagram, but there's not a lot of personal details. It seems that he posts a lot about his acting work, but not much else. He's mostly known for the TV show The Leftovers, which always looked good. I just never got into it.
It was another post-apocalypse kind of thing.
Right. It was what I kind of imagine like the Rapture.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like 2/3 of everyone on Earth just suddenly disappear without a trace. So it's an interesting premise. I think on Showtime or something. I didn't have Showtime. It was on one of the paid channels. And then Snowfall, and we've talked about this one before, and I can't remember who else was in it.
But it's the one about the drug lords, right?
Right. It's the
I
early
think it
days
was the guy who plays Dante.
Cocaine. Oh, you're right. It was.
Yeah. Javier Cardenas.
Juan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's kind of most known for that. He was in 17, 18 episodes of each show, but he's got a ton of other credits. And of course, he has a Law and Order.
He's got like 3 Law and Order. Yeah.
He does. Criminal Intent and 2 SVUs. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Just a Law and Order.
Oh, no. He had Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and SVU.
That's right. He does. Oh, God. Everyone's in that show. He was also in a movie that I have actually seen because I love Betty Page. The Notorious Betty Page. He had a kind of a bit part in that. And then he's also been in something recently that I have watched. And I don't know why we talked about it, but Velvet Buzzsaw?
Because Sidney Lemon, who played the love interest for Al from CRS, was in the Velvet Buzzsaw.
Man, look at your recall.
I looked it up because I remembered that we talked about it.
I was thinking you maybe taking your ginkgo biloba.
No, I wasn't that good.
She's still taking the horny goat weed.
I trip over my walker to get to the bedroom.
Okay, so we will talk about our old eyes later in the episode.
Oh my God, I know, right? Again.
So Kevin Carroll was also in 2 episodes of Lucifer, and he actually played a character that I thought had more episodes, but I guess he was just mentioned a lot because he played a bad guy, the Sinner Man. So, yeah, and he's filming a TV series coming up called Madam C.J. Walker. That sounds interesting.
Did it have any description? I didn't click on it to see if it said any more about the series.
Oh, the story of hair care pioneer Madam C.J. Walker and the trials faced in the road becoming America's first black self-made millionaire.
I hate to say it, but probably not on the list. Does that make me a bad person?
No, there's just the list is really long. But there's 8 episodes currently. I guess filming. They're not in the can yet. Their title is filming, but looks like somebody bought 8 episodes. So we'll see if that lasts. But yeah, I don't know how long he'll be on the Walking Dead. I don't know if he'll just give Michonne what she's come for, and then we won't see him again, like Heath.
Brian.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
But yeah, so there's really, I mean, there's not a lot of personal details or anything about Kevin Carroll. So yeah, that's kind of it.
I did not try to find him on YouTube. Did you?
I didn't. No, I just did not have time. We are podcasting so early in the week nowadays.
I know. And, I have to say, not to be whiny, but my 3-day weekend, which is a blissful thing, I was busy every day. So being able to get on and podcast with you guys tonight, being even halfway prepared, was a miracle.
Well, Brian messaged us and he's like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, oh God, I have 4 minutes left in my rewatch.
I had just gotten home from the Mr. Rogers movie like an hour prior, and I was like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes in the recliner for 15 minutes. Oh my God, that feels so good. I don't want to get up. Well, Whisperer's Corner was kind of busy. First and foremost, and Brian, you alluded to this, we had the ad for the new series, which gave us the title of the new series.
Yeah. World Beyond, right?
Yeah. And so this is my second thing in Whisperer's Corner, and this was a big deal for me. They have hired Julia Ormond to be in the series. And I'm totally aging myself, but I remember her from Legends of the Fall and loved her in that movie.
That's funny. That's exactly where I know her from.
Oh my god, that movie's got to be 20 years old. If it's a day, it's probably closer to 30 years old.
Probably.
I don't know what kind of jibber jabber you guys are talking about, but I'm pretty excited. 2 reasons why I'm excited. One, it's in spring of 2020, so that's pretty cool. Because that's coming up.
Yes.
And it'll probably pick up a week or 2 right after the main series, Prime, is over. But, a couple of things we don't know. Where's Fear going to slot in then? If it's going to be spring of 2020.
Are we even concerned at this point?
I like Fear, excuse me.
Did you really? You liked this season?
Yeah, I believe that, yes, they did spend too much time doing stupid stuff, but I believe it's their pivot.
Okay.
Right, it's their new direction.
I gotta ask you then, we have to go down this rabbit hole. What do you think of the chick who is the Teddy Roosevelt chick, Ginny?
Oh, they're so stupid.
Okay.
I don't like that, but again, I mean, we're just seeing another, I don't know what you call it, the iteration of characters, right? There's no difference between her and the King and Negan or the Whisperers. This is just their iteration. They've found what works for them, and they're just kind of sticking with it and rolling with it.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because if I'm being fair, which I'm not very often, yeah, King Ezekiel is totally ridiculous with his Shakespearean speech, and Negan is totally ridiculous with his swagger, so I don't know why Ginny bothered me so much, but she really did.
It was not expected, right? And I think the thing that really kind of threw it off a little bit is she still kind of kept her, like, teeny bopper, like, hey girl, kind of attitude to it, which is what I thought was just like, oh my god, I hope this lady gets shot right off her horse.
Yeah, so all of the other people that you've mentioned, Negan, the Whisperers, they all had a sort of a command of respect. Like, Ginny, I'm like, why do you people follow her? Right?
Because there's bigger fish at the end of the line, right? So it's kind of just like, she's like the groups that Negan sent out, right? The outpost crews, right? She's just the leader of this outpost, and there's 10 other parties that go out searching in different directions, and she's just a lieutenant, right? She's just out there thinking she makes the people she comes in contact think she's the boss. Well, you know, she's not Negan, right? Even though she says she's Negan, she's not the Negan. Right, so that's kind of the whole, I believe anyways, the whole charade of it all.
Well,
that's kind of what I got from it too.
You were both much more forgiving about Fear than I was.
Yeah, I think Fear, this was really to kind of end some storylines, start some new ones, and really just kind of pivot away. But when they ended this series this summer, I'm just like, this is a total Glenn moment, right? Morgan's not dead.
Oh, right.
This isn't happening, right?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. You know, Lenny James apparently has a very successful new series back in England. So
then why didn't they let him get shredded? Why didn't they show me the body?
Right. I don't know. You're right. It's a Glenn moment. He's Schrodinger's Morgan. He's dead and undead at this point.
That's
damn
funny.
Kids.
All right, a couple of other things in Whisperer's Corner. Phil sent a message to me this week, and there was a one-off published a Walking Dead comic with a subtitle The Alien. And apparently it was a digital one-off a couple of years ago, and they released a hard copy to local comic stores that came out on the 23rd of this month. I have not been able to find it digitally. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to go to the comic store and see if they've got any left. Have either of you seen it?
No.
No.
Phil said he read it, so I'll have to have him send us a little synopsis and let us know what it is. It's supposedly firmly planted in the Walking Dead universe, but I don't know how, where...
I feel like I've heard of it before. It's like, isn't it the story of someone who is stuck, like, overseas?
No,
like,
I
they're
honestly
American,
have no idea.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about it, or maybe
No.
listened to another podcast and they talked about it.
You were cheating on us with another podcast.
I cheat on you with several other podcasts.
Ain't my first rodeo.
Oh my god, you guys. Okay, so total detour down a rabbit hole away from Whisperer's Corner. I finally listened to Joe Rogan. And I'm really enjoying the heck out of it.
Really?
Yes.
He has some really interesting people on his show, and by interesting I mean you really shouldn't give them an hour.
Oh, no, you are totally wrong. I listened to Kevin Smith today. It was amazing.
Oh, of course, Kevin Smith always
Yes.
amazing.
Oh no, I'm totally cherry picking the interviews that I want, but they're really fun.
Yeah,
I'm really
that's what I
enjoying
do.
them. Yeah, Matt Taibbi, who is a writer for Rolling Stone, that was a great interview. Yeah, so sorry, total detour. Back to Whisperer's Corner.
But-
Oh no, go.
But is this the segment where we get to talk about
Totally.
protein bars and
Yes,
stuff like that?
absolutely. That's part of Whisperer's
Well,
Corner.
I
At
have
least
bones,
I have turned it
I
into
have
part of
bones to
Whisperer's
pick with
Corner.
you ladies
Okay,
from
tell
last
us.
week.
Tell us.
Okay, for starters, protein bars, you need to be getting Quest bars.
Oh no,
Quest,
they're
Quest.
terrible. Oh.
What?
Oh,
Have
honey,
you got like the
trust me.
birthday cake or the donut ones? The birthday cake one tastes just like
No.
birthday cake, and the donut one
No.
tastes like donuts.
Oh my god,
All right, so
the Built Bar ones taste like a candy bar, I swear to God.
good lord, you're nuts. Man. All right,
You
bone
both
number
are crazy.
one.
I probably have never had a legit protein bar in my life.
I am
Like,
going
I've
to
had,
tuck one in your birthday present, and I'm going to change your mind.
Note to
They're good
USPS, there
snacks.
is something perishable in her item that she's shipping.
No, those suckers
Make
will
sure
live
you pay
forever.
for it. So bone number 2 I have to pick with you. For podcast, have
Yeah.
you either of you listened to Disgraced Land?
I've heard
No.
of it. And I've actually had it suggested to me by someone else, so that adds a
Yeah,
little more
so-
cred, even.
Yeah, it was a random interview I heard on my local talk radio, because I'm a farmer and that's what we do. We listen to talk radio. And it was just a guy on there pitching. He was the creator of it, pitching his podcast just on a radio segment. And it's so fun to go through, and I cherry pick which ones I listen to, because if I don't know the artist, I don't really care. Or if I'm not a fan of the artist, I don't really care. But when you find ones you do, it talks about the real history, right? Because what I hate is someone says, well, I'm not listening to that band anymore because, just use an example, Five Finger Death Punch. I like Five Finger Death Punch, but the lead singer beat his ex-girlfriend, right? Okay, whatever. Like, I'm not here to judge, but it's not like I'm all of a sudden going to stop listening to the band. That doesn't have any influence. So I countered this guy with the argument. I'm like, do you know the real story behind any of your bands, any of your stuff? And that got us into this podcast. I'm like, let's go through and start finding people. So it's fun to, like, if you don't care about what someone's real history is to make you not listen to the music, then whatever, right? It's worth a listen. It's totally cool.
Okay, the first episode is, did Jerry Lee Lewis kill his wife and get away with it? I'm hooked already.
Because there's murder and rock and roll.
Right? Like, This will lull me into my slumber tonight.
Yeah, there's really good ones out there on Disgraceland. I really like it. It's good stuff.
Very good. I will totally put it in the queue then.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not done yet. Bone number 3.
I'm going to send you a protein bar too, Brian.
Yeah, I eat one every day.
I'm going to send you a good one.
I'm in the gym getting all swole, ladies. Like, god dang.
All right, before you go to bone number 3, chocolate caramel brownie, coconut cream, chocolate raspberry, or chocolate orange?
Let's go with coconut cream.
Okay, it's a deal. Marn, you're getting a chocolate orange one. I already know it already.
Of course. Like, it's my 2 favorite sweet flavors.
Yes. All right, bone number 3.
Bone number 3, streaming services. Okay, so here's my plan. I'm a PlayStation Vue guy. PlayStation Vue is over January 31st. Conveniently, when sports ball is over. I have to find something to go to. I have Disney Plus. I don't want Hulu. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. There is a streaming service out there called Philo. Philo. It has AMC on it.
Oh,
it's
really?
$20 a month.
Like AMC in a timely fashion? Like we could podcast on it and still be relatively on time?
I believe so. I haven't signed up for it yet.
Okay, I'm
but
putting
everything
it
that
on
I've
my
read
list.
and seen is like Philo is legit. It has, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40. It's got some like MTV, who cares? But it's got the ones that I'm missing.
I gotta tell you, man, the $100 a month dish bill is getting old, so I'm halfway there.
Yeah. So research Philo. It's $20. Like, it's got a limited DVR, right? You can't hold DVR stuff forever. You can only hold it for 30 days, right? So there's some drawbacks, but it's only $20. So pick and choose your battles, right?
All right, it's in my notes.
Yeah, with Philo, there were more things that I was losing out of PlayStation Vue that I'm getting back the important ones, like the AMC and stuff like that, picking this up so I can continue Walking Dead and I don't have to a la carte every single channel. So I've got a good balance of Disney Plus, the Noggin app for my kids, and then I'll have this Philo, and I'm in $35 a month.
I think somebody talked me off the ledge today with Disney, so I may give them another try. I know it didn't last very long, did it? I'm really interested in The Mandalorian.
The world, according to... So The Mandalorian's pretty good, right? I'm a big Star Wars guy. I'm an original Star Wars podcaster, the whole 9 yards, with like legit, like my first blogging gig for Star Wars was a site that is recognized by Disney as a legit fan site. So when episode 7 was coming out, I knew spoilers before the movie was even hit, and it ruined it for me. Like, it ruined the movie for me because I knew everything that was coming, and there was stuff we didn't release. People were on the cruise sending us pictures that we knew that we couldn't release because we were going to release the identity of the person because of the photos and stuff. Like, that's how in-depth this was. So, Mandalorian, mixed reviews, but there are hidden nuggets on Disney Plus. The World According to Jeff Goldblum is a fun little series.
Oh. Okay.
He just like picks like a random subject, and we're going to talk about the history of it. Shoes is the first episode, and then it's ice cream and tattoos. It's Jeff Goldblum's quirky style, but it's a fun learn, right? And you're just like, that was pretty cool. That's why I like Disney Plus.
I'm fairly talked off the ledge because it's Disney. They just made me mad when they couldn't help me get my Hulu online. So I'm hoping, since they've had another week to get it all out in the wash, maybe I can make it work.
So this kind of like, I haven't been interested in Disney Plus other than The Mandalorian, because I have a friend who's a big Star Wars nerd, and he's like, you have to watch it. But for me, like, Disney is like cartoon princesses and stuff. Like, I always forget that they do other crap, and now they own just about everything. So I'm getting more and more talked into getting Disney Plus. and canceling cable because I'm a little sick of paying for everything.
And
I mean,
watching
I even
like
pay
3
for
channels.
right. I even have like the YouTube $11.99 a month or whatever. But I actually had to get a new phone recently. And so going into AT&T and switching over to their unlimited data and getting a new phone and everything, we got a text about one of the AT&T apps, Watch TV, and you can stream 30 channels, and you can stream them without using any of your data or anything. And it has AMC, so I was very excited about that because, you know, my big rant, I can't get AMC via my cable provider or my internet provider because my internet provider is my cable provider.
Right.
And so they block the IP for AMC's website, or AMC blocks them or whatever. So I actually have the Watch TV app now, and it also has about 30 channels. And actually, most of them are channels that I regularly watch. So the only downside to it is I have it on our TVs and our phones, but you can only do one at a time. So like if I'm watching something, the other half can't be watching something else.
Ha.
Well,
someplace else.
I mean,
Just log in first.
yeah, I was going
right?
to say, I know who wins that battle.
Right? Be texting him, get off TV app.
There's also another free one called Pluto TV, depending on your streaming device. I use a Roku. Pluto TV, it's free. There's no new TV. It's all old stuff, but it's pretty fun too. Because they have like a gorilla channel and it's always monkeys. Or there's like a poker channel. There's like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 channel and it's all Mystery Science Theater 3000 movies.
I love that.
Yeah, that one's a pretty fun one too. Just saying. If you're bored or stoned, there's a train channel where it's just a camera hooked onto a train on the front of a train and you like go all over Europe on a train.
Oh my God, that's
just watching the train. Yeah, it's cool.
That's funny. There's a channel for everything. We have something in Juneau called the Channel Channel. It is channel 23, I believe, and it is just a live cam of our channel, like our waterway that divides us from Douglas Island. So it's the Channel.
The channel's channel.
So
the people's channel.
If you're too lazy to get up and go and look out the window to see what the weather is doing, you can just flip it to the Channel and see what the weather's doing.
Oh my God. But
God bless America.
For people who have never been to Juneau, Alaska, the Gastrono Channel is beautiful. You would not be sorry if you put that on and just watched it.
And it plays the classical music radio station, so I like classical music because I'm a nerd.
Really? I never knew that about you.
I love classical music.
Too funny.
Speaking of which, Rachmaninoff was in this episode.
Yes, Rachmaninoff was. We'll talk about the library.
All right.
All right. A few more things in Whisperer's Corner that actually had to do with The Walking Dead. Although I love the detours. I think they're fun. American Werewolf in London is getting a reboot. And Kirkman is going to be at the helm as the producer.
Interesting.
Didn't it already have a reboot in
No.
I feel like it already had a reboot.
No, but even with Kirkman as the producer, there is part of me that feels don't mess with perfection.
Yeah.
I'm pretty attached to that movie.
Am I thinking of an American Werewolf in Paris?
I think you are.
Stephen Hawke.
I think you are.
With Stephen Hawking, that's going to be terrible.
Ethan Hawke. You're thinking
Ethan Hawke.
It's going to be a pretty slow werewolf.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
That is so wrong. We're all going to get hate mail for that.
Oh. God, please could somebody out there, Kirk, if you're out there, will you please draw me Stephen Hawking turning into a werewolf?
All right. The other thing that I wanted to bring up in Whisperer's Corner is the Daryl Dixon ugly sweater from Talking Dead.
Are you going to get one?
I totally want one. I told our other housewife that if she orders one, she needs to order two. They're having an ugly sweater contest at work, and I texted her and said, you need to get one of these. So.
Mary Dicksmith.
And speaking of sweaters, this is a total rabbit hole again. I went to the Mr. Rogers movie today.
How was it?
Was it good?
I cried like a baby. I cried through probably the last 45 minutes of the movie.
That does not make me want to see it.
And I will be honest, it's kind of slow. I mean, there was part of me that was like, oh, did I make a mistake inviting my 3 friends out to this movie with me? And then in the last 45 minutes, my friend Michelle and her daughter Nicole were sitting right there bawling along right with me. Alyssa, who is 7 months pregnant, was laughing at the 3 of us. So apparently she's got some sort of magical hormone insulation going on.
Or she's like me and she's cold and dead inside.
I don't know. You'd have to be pretty cold and dead inside to not get this.
Did you watch the documentary that came out last year?
No,
that was
and
in theaters?
I'm going to. This is not a documentary.
No.
And this is, interestingly, the guy who is the journalist who's interviewing Mr. Rogers is actually the main character of the movie. And it's based on an interaction that Fred Rogers and a journalist named Tom Junod had when he wrote an Esquire article about him. So there is some truth, but it's not biographical.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it, especially if you are working out childhood issues. Yeah. You'll have a good cry, trust me.
I remember watching it when I was a kid.
I'm going to go back and watch it because I don't think I got nearly as much out of it as I could as an adult. All right, last thing I'm going to say in Whisperer's Corner, because we will spare Brian and not talk about Eric Kane or Paul Tassi this week, is that Victoria Morris sent us a text or a message via Facebook. Black Summer is getting a season 2.
Yay!
Yeah. So
Are there any details on it?
I looked and there is no date. It is confirmed for production sometime in 2020 back in Alberta, which is where they filmed the first season. Jamie King is confirmed. Justin Chu Carey, who played Spears, is confirmed. And Christine Lee, who played Sun, is confirmed.
Oh, good.
So I'm excited.
Bri, did you watch Black Summer?
No.
Oh, okay. If I go and listen to the podcast that I suddenly can't remember the name to,
Disgraceland.
Disgraceland.
Disgraceland. If I watch that, you have to watch Black Summer.
Well, you don't watch a podcast. You listen to one.
Yeah. Unless you're Phil, because you can watch Phil's podcast on Capes and Lunatics on YouTube.
I mean, right now we're kind of like knee deep in Hallmark Christmas movies and Pokemon.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Don't you want to see Fast Zombies during Christmas?
Maybe. No, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you do.
All right.
It was really good.
Only 7 episodes, and didn't they varied in length?
I think there were 8 episodes, and they were 20 to 30 minutes apiece.
Yeah, they were. It was really quick.
And I will tell you, do not let the fact that it is loosely related to Z Nation fool you. It's actually really good.
Right?
I will look into it.
All right, that is all I have for Whisperer's Corner. Anything else you guys want to say before we go on to our goods, bads, and uglies?
No.
Don't forget to tip your waitress.
And be extra nice because it's the holiday season and everyone's really stressed.
And
Yeah.
Brian and I want your advice on protein bars, apparently.
Oh, no. I'm sending you both protein bars and you are going to get converted. You are going to get Jesus.
Oh, her protein bars are going to make me see God, apparently.
They are.
Oh,
Well,
man.
Bri, why don't you lead us in with your good?
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you said my name.
Yeah.
So my good was that we didn't waste any time in finding out what Dante's story, how he got in, how he did it, the whole whodunit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting until the end or waiting in the middle, just here you go. First 5 minutes, we're just gonna zip right through this, and it all made sense, right? It wasn't a far-fetched theory, and it was just I was satisfied, like that son of a bitch. Oh, I can't believe he did it, right? It made me hate him and be angry rather than trying to point out the flaws in the story. That was a very well crafted, thought through. Here, how you're going to get in. Here's how you're going to do it. Here's how it's going to happen. You'll be one of us. You'll have a higher place with us. Deal.
And this is why Lydia doesn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was a huge plot hole last episode.
Yeah, and it made sense, right? Because I mean, clearly he was a grunt, right? So he was not a ranking member of the Whisperers. So it's not like he was there anyways. And he was relatively new since Lydia's split. It's been a while, so yeah, that's very plausible. In the last year or two, she picked up a new member, right? So I mean, it makes sense. I liked it.
I am going to say that was almost my good, and I'm so glad it wasn't because it was your good. But I agree. I wrote down in my notes first thing, thank you, Walking Dead, for answering the question and for making sure that stuff isn't throwaway.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Brian said, getting to the point very quickly and very concisely, not dragging it out.
Yeah, no, it was good. All right, Marn, what about you?
Father Gabe going primal. I loved it. Like, when he went into Dante's cell and he left that cell door open, we all thought it, didn't we? He's going to let Dante escape. Like, this is happening.
We all totally thought it was an Negan moment.
Yeah. So when he just hauls off and stabs Dante in the neck and then continues stabbing him savagely, and that just, like, animalistic, like, guttural wail that he yelled out, like, yeah, wow, wow. You know, I retract what I said last episode when I said that Seth could have died. I wouldn't have been upset because we would have missed out on this. And I just don't know what to think. I mean, you know, Father Gabe started off as the guy who locked his congregation out to save himself. And, you know, he's done so much and come so far, and his character has taken so many twists and turns. And I thought we had gotten everything we could out of him, and I'm happy to say that I was wrong.
You stole my ugly.
That was my ugly.
Was it? Okay,
It was
so
such a big part of the show. I figured one of you would have it in either good or bad somewhere. But
dude, you
definitely
pulled it early,
maybe
man.
Well, and I do have to admit that the joke I had at the top of the episode, where the movie Chicago, when they're singing the Cell Block Tango and the chick goes, he ran into my knife 10 times, is actually a tweet by someone named Meg the Geek on Twitter. So I have to say that I stole the joke. I will always admit when it's not an original thought or a stolen joke. So Meg the Geek on Twitter had a really funny gif of the Cell Block Tango with that. So
hat tip to Meg the Geek.
Yeah.
Well,
there was some, like, I normally don't go on Twitter, but there were some really good funny stuff on Twitter this week.
I think Brian and I will probably talk about it again when we get to our uglies, unless you want to cover it now,
Yes.
Brian. Okay, we'll save it.
No, I will.
Okay.
I'll hold.
Okay.
Because I think even we have a different take on why it's ugly.
Okay, very good. My good is that I fear for people again. Like, I actually really thought that Sadiq was going to eat Coco. I was worried that Rosita was going to get bit. I thought that Luke was a goner. I mean, I really thought there was a very real chance that we were going to lose somebody else in this episode. So that's
Yes.
good. I really appreciate having that fear again.
Yeah.
So up in my just kind of general notes was that this episode, why I made it into the Force, was because they took away the predictability in the last, I felt, 3 episodes of how it was going to go. And just like you said, I'm like, well, she's going to walk away. Nope, actually, Dante is pulling a knife on her. Oh, she's going to get nicked up. Nope, actually, she just killed Dante. Oh, now someone's going to get bit. Oh, nope. So, like, I was always trying to guess, and I was always guessing wrong. I don't know if it was because I was caught up in the moment or just what. And like you said, it was that fear of, oh man, someone's going to take it. Oh, man, whoa, that's not how I've seen it play out. So I like that. I liked being intrigued by their choices and decisions rather than saying, I bet you it's going to play out like X, Y, Z and be completely right and be like, yawn.
Saw that coming. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hats off to Angela Kang again. She's done a really good job revitalizing this series. And making me care. I mean, not that I ever stopped caring about the main season, but I care about the new people even. I mean, I didn't want to see Luke get bit. I was really bummed that we were going to lose Luke, so I'm glad that we didn't. But, yeah. All right, Bri, you're bad.
My bad is Carol. I am so over Carol. She used to be one of my favorites, but this season, the way it started, and even last season, I am so disconnected and so tired of her character, period, that every time she pops up, people will not stand up to her. She is not a member of anybody's community. She is not a ranking member in anybody's community. She is, in military terms, she is the sergeant who got busted down to private for misconduct, and now they just walk around doing whatever the hell they want to, but people still say, oh, well, that person used to be a sergeant. They're fine. Just let them be. That's what this situation is, and it just makes things worse. And Carol, I'm over you. You just keep making things worse, and it annoys the crap out of me that no one says, you're done. If you go out, you're on your own. Don't ever come back here again. Goodbye.
Well, and she endangers everybody with her she endangers everybody with her actions because she, the Whisperers still see her as part of the group, whether the group does or not, and they do. But I mean, her lone vendetta is going to get tens of people killed. So I agree.
Well, so Dante called it. He was talking about how basically his job was to pressure them into making bad decisions, and that's exactly what Carol keeps doing. But the other thing, and Martin, this is not my bad, but it kind of goes to something that you alluded to. Every time they do an intense Daryl and Carol, we're going to chase the Whisperers through the woods scene, I can't see a damn thing because it's so dark. It's really hard to watch. They just don't do a good job shooting it. The whole thing in the cave this time, I'm like, what? What?
Okay, so, yeah, I was alluding to that, oh, great, we're going to have, 3 episodes next season in a dark cave. Awesome. Right?
Oh, my God. I'll cry.
Bri, are you having a hard time seeing it? I mean, I've got a really good TV and a really good soundbar, and some of these scenes, I'm like, I can't tell what the heck is going on.
Yeah, for the most part, like when they did the wide shot where they were showing, trying to show all of them, what I thought about was Lord of the Rings, where they do a big wide pan and it's a bunch of orcs at the walls, whatever city it was. I'm like, that's funny. But all I could really see was just like the heads glaring and like an occasional arm. And I get it, right? It's in a cave. There is no light down here. So whatever, I guess. But yeah, it is dark.
It frustrates me that an otherwise good season is being challenged by bad cinematography choices.
Budget cuts.
Probably.
Sorry, boss, no lights.
Yeah.
I feel like
we've only got 3.31 million viewers. No lights.
I feel like this, but it was the same rant that Game of Thrones had, and I think I've mentioned before, where I feel like they're shooting it for big screen cinematography, and it just doesn't translate to the small screen. So they just need to stop trying to be fancy.
Yeah, I don't
agree.
know. Whatever they're doing, it's falling flat in the action scenes, and that's a bummer. I'm having a hard time following, especially the Daryl Carroll stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Marn, did we cover your bad, or do you have something else to tell us?
I have a very minor bad, and it's more that I think I misunderstood something, or there was a continuity error or something. So when they're in the library and Michonne is talking on the radio with Magna, and she's like, go for Michonne and Judith. And of course, that's when we assume that they hear that Sadiq was killed. And then when Michonne is talking to Luke and Scott and everybody, and they're like, what happened? And Michonne's like, Sadiq's dead. Judith looked shocked. And I'm like, but she just heard on the radio, right? It was a very weird moment that they focused in on her looking shocked that she heard the news that Sadiq was dead. And she just heard it on the radio. So it was a very weird, it took me out of the moment. I don't know if it truly was a continuity error that they kind of filmed those out of sequence, and I don't know. Just unexpected.
I didn't catch that.
So I did, but my interpretation of the scene, and I think this kind of takes little nuggets because Michonne, I'll table this and I'll just say, I don't think Michonne intended to tell anybody what it was about at that moment. And that's what her and Little Ass Kicker had discussed.
And Judith was shocked because Michonne let it spill.
In the heat of the moment, she made a bad decision and said, this is why. Move your asses. Instead of, hey, we'll talk about this when we get to Oceanside. Hey, there's news. We need to talk about this. Bigger group. Here's what's going on. Here's the details. And she was just like, I can't believe you just blurted it out. Like, right? You tell me to keep a secret, but then you're the one who's blabbing.
Okay, I will accept that. I didn't convey to me like that. And I was thoroughly confused, and it took me out of the moment. And I barely remember what happened for 3 minutes after that.
Because you were still puzzling on Judith's little face.
Yeah, I was like, she's such a good little actress, but that was the wrong emotion.
Oh, speaking of which, so I rarely look at any stuff that Walking Dead posts on Twitter because I still bear a grudge that they spoiled me over Beth's death back in season 5. But they actually said, you should go over to the Instagram page right now. So I clicked on it. It was the cutest picture of Kaylee Fleming and dog on set.
Dog.
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Pretty adorable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my bad was that I felt like the detour to the library was totally manufactured. It felt like it was just an excuse to introduce Virgil. I felt like that was a useless piece of story.
So I had a problem with the library in a different way. The communities have been there for 10 plus years. Wouldn't the library closest to you be completely picked clean? Even the metal shelves would be gone, everything.
Fair enough.
I had the same question. I'm like, how have just random people not used this for to make fires, right? Burning the books to make fire. How is it this still this pristine and clean? And then when they came across Virgil, I'm like, oh, maybe he's like the librarian and he lives there and he was just keeping it tidy. And then obviously I was wrong about that, but yeah, I had the same thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Down with the
library was very
scene.
forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like the snowstorm at the end of last season.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, Marnell, since you destroyed our uglies and we're kind of holding pat, what was your ugly?
My mercy prevails over my wrath.
Ah, yes.
So, do you know, Rick said that, but do you know where he got it?
It was from Sadiq.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
So, I really like how they called back to not only Rick, but Sadiq in this episode. And, you know, it was Michonne saying that to somebody, you know, who's kind of new to our group that we don't trust. And
the fact that it really was kind of the thing that saved Virgil, the fact that he mentioned mercy as something in short supply.
Yeah.
He triggered that memory.
And that lesson survived both the death of Sadiq and the quote-unquote death of Rick.
And the death of Carl.
And the death of Carl. Yep. So I really, mine was a good ugly, obviously, and I really like how they worked that in.
All right, Bri, talk to us about Gabe, and let's see if you and I are on the same page.
So I believe it's an ugly, but it's kind of a bad ugly, not like a good ugly, in the fact that, right, he went nuts. He lost it. He is doing everything is playing out the way Dante has called it at this point. He cracked. He got a little chip in him, and now he's cracked. And I believe this one act is going to have lasting ramifications throughout the rest of this season and next, because he blames Carol for just making decisions. And now Gabriel has to come and clean it up, and you made a decision without consulting anybody. Well, he just did that too. He just murdered a guy in the cell and didn't consult anybody, right? They were going to question this guy. They were going to use him a lot. And now he just removed that entire process. So decisions, what's the punishment now? Or Rosita seen him walking out of there bloody. They went and burned the body together.
Yeah, I felt like she was totally condoning and actually like appreciated what he did.
Okay, that was a weird bonding moment.
It was.
Are they going to cover it up?
So I'm glad. My take was very different, and I'll get into mine in a minute, but I'm glad you brought that up, because that was totally one of my thoughts was, where do we go from here? How are they going to explain this to the community?
He died too. He took the herb and killed himself, so he couldn't get any more stuff.
Well,
the blood's all in there.
That's true.
So I'm assuming, because I've conspiracy theoried this out until, bone number 4 to pick. This will come back on after the Super Bowl. You guys didn't know when it was going to come back on. After the Super Bowl. What? It's that late?
Yeah, the 23rd of February.
Oh, is it the Olympics? Is it because of the Olympics?
Oh, I don't know. I totally didn't catch that.
I bet it's the Olympics.
Yeah, because usually comes back right around Valentine's Day. So a week and a half late this year.
Well, the Super Bowl is the first week of February, so that's like 3 weeks after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyways. I take my bone back. I think that he was just going to be like, he had one of those poison herbs and ate it, and then he started spewing up blood just like the last guy did, and then we went out and burned the body because he didn't deserve to be buried.
Or we didn't frisk him well enough and he had a knife and he's just crazy enough to cut his own throat.
It could be too.
Well,
he burned the evidence.
I was going to say they got rid of the body so they could say anything.
Well, so my cover story for getting rid of the body would have been, I don't want him buried in these walls. right? Like, I don't want him buried next to our loved ones.
Yep.
Which they've had that argument before.
Mm-hmm. So I get where you're coming from, and I kind of have to agree with you. I had not thought of it that way. So I really wanted that, like, I just, because it was such a shocking moment. It, like, you know, this show continues to surprise, and I like to be caught off guard like that. And like I said, I thought we had seen everything we were going to see from Gabe, and all of a sudden, you know, and he always teeters on the edge of, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I mean, not a bad guy like Negan's a bad guy, but like just someone who's like will do anything to survive himself, and, you know, like screw everybody else, like he did with his congregation. So
I actually really liked it, and it was a good ugly for me, because I felt like it was kind of a fine point on, we no longer live in the world before. This is who Gabriel is now. He found this place in himself that he had no idea existed. And I liked it because I was shocked and I didn't see it coming.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when he opened the gate, I'm just like, oh my God, he's going to tell her, you go back to Alpha, you let her know we're ready for this war, blah, 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 blah. I thought that's what was going to happen, so it caught me by surprise too.
Yeah, I thought he was leaving I thought it was just one of those, oh, Father Gabe left the gate open again, like he did at the main gate, like he did Negan's cell, even though he didn't leave Negan's cell open. I don't believe he did. But he did leave the main gate open when he went out to, like, commit suicide via walker that one time.
Yes, in the white shirt.
Yeah, and so I imagined it was, oh, I'm just being careless and leaving the gate open again, and Dante's going to bum rush me and escape. But no, like, he went primal on Dante.
So he was in the goods, bads, and uglies for all of us, but in slightly different permutations.
Mm-hmm.
I like where they took Gabe, and I think that it definitely was a bonding moment between him and Rosita, so it will be interesting to see where they take that.
And I don't like it. I just like that it was surprised, and it's something interesting. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, so I'll say this. So if you go back to where Rosita and they're sitting on the couch and she's trying to be emotional about the loss of her baby daddy,
and he totally like, minimizes her.
Yeah,
he's just like, I got to do this. It's fine. You'll be okay. Yeah, you stalled. Whatever. Right? They can't bond over love, so now they're going to bond over murder, fighting, right? This is how they are going to love each other, through killing and violence rather than actual love and affection.
God, that's depressing.
Yeah, I don't know what those two saw in each other anyway, so...
but long putt is she's totally gonna give old, what's-his-face, a big old fat kiss.
Eugene.
I did see that.
Eugene, yeah, he's gonna bust it in his pants one time.
So didn't it seem to you that she was just a little overwrought about the death of someone that she was not in love with anymore? I kind of felt like there was a lot more unresolved with her relationship with Sadiq than they were letting on.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
go ahead.
I feel like they almost kissed last episode. She just coughed before they could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes all the way back to Abe. Like, you know, she got dumped by her love, and now she's trying to get any type of affection anywhere she can, regardless of who it's from, right? Whether she's hooking up with one, in love with another, and keeps the other one in the friend zone. And the more that goes on, I think she realizes that, oh my God, Eugene has always been the one for me, and I've just never realized it. But now she's like super duper damaged goods. to like 4 people, but Eugene's like, oh, I don't care.
Except now Eugene's got Stephanie in the wings.
Yep. Isn't that always the way it is? Like, you don't want somebody until they're taken. Then it's like, somebody else sees value in him. I want him now. That's why men who wear wedding rings get more attention than men who don't.
Is that true, Bri?
I have no idea. Maybe in Alaska.
The odds are good, but the goods are odd.
Yeah. I guess maybe, but I play Pokemon, so it kind of it nulls itself out.
Yeah, man, if some other woman is willing to put up with you, then you must be tolerable.
That's right.
So are we squarely in rotting potpourri?
We are squarely in rotting potpourri.
Okay, so I have a funny story. And I think I've probably told it on the show, but it totally relates to something that happened on the show now. So when Carol and Alpha lock eyes across the field, and they kind of both freeze there in the moment, and then Carol takes off running, and Daryl goes, "Hey!" It completely reminded me of the time that I took our mother's Cocker Spaniel to the glacier with our brother's Rottweiler because they were the best of friends. Picture that. And they were both off leash, and it was wintertime, so the lake was frozen over. And there are plenty of people on the ice and everything. And, it's way out in the open. Of course, there's no trees or anything on the ice. And I turn around, and I'm like, oh, what a beautiful... That's not a dog. And it was a wolf, specifically a timber wolf that the locals had named Romeo. And the Cocker Spaniel takes off running. And I know exactly how Daryl felt in that moment when his domesticated Cocker Spaniel was running for a wolf.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
All you can do is go, hey! And you take off running after him. But for me, it was like, what do I do when I get there? Do I reason with the wolf? I don't have a weapon. So luckily,
here's a hot dog.
Right? Luckily, Cocker Spaniel tastes awful because the wolf just picked her up, shook her in his mouth, and then dropped her. Didn't draw any blood or anything. And he trotted off into the distance, completely unlike Alpha. But it was so funny. That's the scene that went over in my head because, the wolf was Alpha, Carol was the Cocker Spaniel, and I was Daryl. It was so comical to me that I knew exactly how Daryl felt. Oh God, stop. Right?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a very hard time just accepting that everyone just still runs and follows Carol. No, fine. You're done. Go.
Yep. You're on your own. Here. Yeah. I mean, I can see instinctually doing it, but then being like, wait, what are we doing? No.
Well, I got to think the breaking point is here for Daryl. Because he was taking a couple of shots at her and calling her out on her BS, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm all remorseful," but she was remorseful because she was lying to him, and every time he's done that and got her to quote see the light, she's seen the light just because she's lying to him, so she doesn't believe anything that he's saying. He doesn't nothing, so she's just tells him whatever he wants to hear, so he puts his guard down. And then she does it anyway, whether it was the zip ties, capturing the guy, just whatever. She's just oh well. And here was another perfect example. So it just keeps happening over and over and over. And I hope that this is the cracking point where you're just you're done.
I kind of felt like they reached a détente again, though. I mean, I felt like once again he was like, okay, pulled her back from the brink. Phew. Although maybe with them being trapped in the cave now, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the point where he says, all right, I'm done.
I'm at least hoping the Hilltop people do. They're like, screw her. screw her. This is why she's not allowed here. And then Jerry's going to let it slip about the king's neck, and then she's going to be all distraught, and then it's just whatever, right?
Okay,
So
speaking of...
on the other hand, though, we probably wouldn't have found the Horde if it weren't for Carol taking off. I'm just saying, I'm playing the devil's advocate. I don't agree with her taking off and them running after her. I think they should have just let her go, and if she came back with Alpha's head, that's great. If she didn't, oh well. But I mean, we wouldn't have found the Horde without her. So,
Really?
Here's one for you. All of this could have been avoided if being seen by the Whisperers, if you would stop crossing into their territory in wide open, well-lit places.
I wrote that down. Oh my God, why are they crossing in the middle of the road? I mean, go 10 feet off the trail and cross the border.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go through the woods and cross.
Yep.
It ain't that hard, people.
It's like,
So I'm just kind of thinking to the cave thing, and it kind of reminded me of Daryl and Rick falling into that cavern when they had their little boy fight at the end of Rick's tenure on the show.
that's right.
So it kind of bugged me from that perspective, but I also just didn't love it as a cliffhanger. Not that I'm saying that either of you did.
No, the back half was definitely the weak part of this. And I don't know. We found the Horde right. I mean, so let's take a step back then and say, do we think, what's the Gamma? Do we think Gamma is being truthful? Or do we think Gamma is doing exactly what Alpha wants her to, regardless? I believe that Gamma is lying to Aaron. Mm-hmm. It's all a scam. But she is getting both, right? She's getting the information she wants about the family, the nephew, all of this stuff, and getting that satisfaction. But then also doing what Alpha wants. And I don't think she was impacted by seeing Lydia. But at the end of the day, it's Gamma. She, I think, is just going to swallow it for the mission and not spread it around like wildfire like you guys think.
You think she's a trusty lieutenant?
Yep.
I think that she was genuinely upset about seeing Lydia, but I agree with you that she is playing both sides because she told Aaron that they would be in that field. And so she knew that they would be nearby and that the other Whisperers would be in the area to see our group in their territory. And so I think she doesn't have a great plan, but she is playing both sides. So yeah, I don't know.
I think the series is definitely setting us up to believe that she's not lying, just based on the little teaser that we got of her kind of lining up with a bunch of Whisperers at the, I don't know, the entryway to Hilltop, for lack of a better word, or to Alexandria, saying to Aaron, your people are in danger. So I think I'm agnostic. I don't know what way I think Gamma's going, but I definitely think the series is setting us up to say, oh, she's legit. She's totally on our side. She's helping Aaron.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think so. One thing you guys talked about last week is how could Dante turn once he sees how good life is?
I asked myself that question again.
Mm-hmm.
So I will put it in the form of ISIS, right? They send people here. They come from a poop hole country. Been there, seen it. It's terrible. They come here. They have jobs. They're getting paid. They're drinking, smoking, having all sorts of fun, doing all sorts of cool stuff.
But they're still true to the mission.
They are programmed a certain way, and they are never going to change. Because then what happens is then they say, wait a minute, you're doing all this stuff? Well, the only way you can be forgiven is if you do this. That's the only way Allah will forgive you. This is the only way you will ever be forgiven for all of your sins for the last 4 years living in this country, right? So, same way, right? They have them programmed. Alpha got them at their most vulnerable point in their lives. She mentally abused them and reprogrammed their way of thinking. And she's doing it, right? I mean, think about it. You've got 50 people, and this short woman is beheading your people in front of you, and no one's finally just said, you know what, screw this. I'm going to kill you. It's not like she's some bodybuilder ninja, right? She's just a person.
Right.
And by looks of it, she's like 5'2". So what? You fear her mental, and Lydia's gone to it numerous times. She has a way with people. She has a way with making them believe. And that's what it is.
And if she notices any dissent in the ranks, she has no problems making you a guardian.
Yep. So I think it's the same way with all that we're seeing, right?
They're all true believers.
They're all true. In the end, they may have their thoughts and pauses, but in the end, it doesn't matter.
So, Bri, as a military vet, bear with me here, but one of the other things that I was thinking about Dante is, you know, his character revealed to us a few episodes ago that he's got some pretty deep PTSD from his service. And I was kind of wondering if his level of PTSD didn't make it easier for him to have that kind of life is nasty, brutish, and short philosophy.
You know, it certainly could have, but I just thought all that was made up too, right? Once we found out he was the bad guy, it's like, well, he was just saying whatever he could, right? He was just connecting.
Do you guys actually
doing whatever?
Do you guys think he had a son?
Jimmy? No.
Okay.
No, like he did the whole Susan Smith cry when on tape. Yeah, totally fake.
Okay, that was a total Murderino reference.
Susan Smith killed her own children and then like cried about it that's, you know, somebody else did it, and it was the most fake cry ever. Like, I think I was like 12 when that happened, and I was watching the news and I was like, no, she killed her own kids. I was 12 and I'm like, no, she killed her own kids.
Okay, so another comment more than a question, but I was kind of bummed out by Rosita harshing on herself for not being on edge. I actually felt like, you know, the fact that she kicked Dante's ass and survived that whole thing and put Sadiq down, I think her edges are still pretty sharp.
Oh, yeah. Especially after getting over from the plague or whatever they had.
I think she was being careless and ridiculous after the funeral, and that's how the whole Walker thing evolved. But I think that her skills are much more honed than she is giving herself credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I thought her little mantra that she was telling Coco sounded a lot like what the Whisperers chant.
Oh, you know what I thought it was? I was like, it sounds like a pagan blessing. She sounds like a witch.
You'll grow up strong. You'll grow up tall.
Yes. Yeah. And I meant it in a good way. But
I just thought that was funny because we keep hearing that chant from the Whisperers, and then Rosita had something very similar. So
the Whisperers still remind me of Riff Raff and Magnolia from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
So I did have one note, and it was going back into my Carol. I skipped over it. With all this crap Carol's pulling and putting everybody in danger, this is her MO. I would venture to say that Rick was making the right call back in season 3 or 4 when he banished her.
Oh, interesting.
Because it was all, you put us all at risk. You put the group at risk. You did all of this, and because
without
of your
consulting.
it was all your own greed.
Well, you know, so here's the thing about like living with an alcoholic and being bought into that whole system. all you know is drama. All you know is chaos. So you're always seeking to create that because that's the only thing that's familiar to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I know a couple people who, if their lives are calm and there's no drama, they will create it for themselves because that's how they live. That's where they thrive.
I just think it goes back to her being the queen, right? She was on top of the world calling all the shots, and she still thinks she's that person. She doesn't realize that she's a grunt.
Like you said, she's kind of always been that way since,
Yeah.
I dislike Carol now with a passion.
I don't dislike Carol with a passion because I have loved that character for so long, but I am disappointed in the direction she's going, and I hope they turn her around. Or I hope they kill her and give us like a super shocking death. Because I think as much as I fear for other characters, and I was sure that Rosita was going to get it, or sure that Luke was going to get it, I'm still kind of convinced that Daryl and Carol are pretty untouchable, so I'd be really floored if they killed one of them.
I was thinking Beta was going to offer like something just crazy where like Beta just like crushes her skull or something with his hands.
Oh my god. So speaking of Beta, he was in Rosita's kitchen in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all right. Conspiracy theory time.
Okay.
Not really conspiracy, but here's my call. I feel so, and here's the I don't know the comics, and we've deviated in and out and all that crap, anyways. But
I will tell you, spoiler alert: Rosita is long gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with all the people who we know are going to be leaving the show for whatever various reasons, well, if you kill off a bunch of people, you've got to have consolidation. This would not be the only time Alexandria has been broken into. It's too easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexandria clearly is overrun because you see all the Whisperers and Walkers in there in the streets killing people and all this other crap. So Alexandria falls, and with it another good chunk of people. And then they all consolidate into Hilltop. And then that's how we go into season 10 with a mass consolidation in Hilltop. The right people take over, the wrong people die off, go away again, and then Maggie comes back and she's like, "What?"
Oh, right. We've still I had forgotten that we've still got that kind of hanging out there. So let's think about it. Ezekiel's going to die, Michonne is going to leave. We think Rosita's going to die because Christian Serratos has that new series. Who else are we losing?
Do you think we'll lose Magna or Luke?
I think
probably Magna.
Oh, now, see, I feel like they're setting us up to lose Luke because he's got a new love interest and he nearly died in the library. But...
Well, Magna and
Yumiko
are on the rocks,
yeah.
So...
And there's conversation that Michonne's lawyer storyline is going to go to Yumiko. So...
Mm-hmm. So we don't think she's going.
Yeah, I think the things that Dante was talking about, how, all it takes is a couple of cracks and this place will crumble. Well, if you look at it, the leaders are all cracking. Mm-hmm. Michonne is making terrible decisions. So this is where it kind of goes back to the face in the library, right? She is making these rash decisions. When they got Virgil on the beach and she's just like, "Nah, I'm killing this dude. You're a whisperer." And he's like, "Wait, he saved my life. He was taking books. That's what's in his backpack, right? This is what he's not even close to being that." And she's like, "Nope, don't care." So she's making all these bad decisions. Gabriel's making bad decisions. Rosita's making bad decisions. They're all starting to make bad decisions.
Carol's making bad decisions.
Yeah, it's going to cost a lot of lives. And Dante's right. He was in there and he created all these cracks.
Yeah,
he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And isn't it funny, like, we knew all along that Dante was a character from the comic books, and he didn't take this route in the comic books. So, but we were all still like, there's something really off about this dude, and we completely ignored it because we didn't want to believe it, and of course we were all fooled by, he wasn't that way in the books. But I kind of feel like they kind of did that in the show too, and in that, he's kind of an odd character, but we'll just ignore it,
Well, we wanted him to be our good doctor, and he was so charming in certain squeaky ways.
I thought we were going to find out he was constantly getting high. And that was going to be the
that he was stealing
him.
everybody's pain meds.
Yeah, meds, right? He was figuring out ways to get high, and that was going to be his big knock, because that's why he was always a little off, because instead of being sad, he was high, and that's just the way he was living.
So, question for you guys. I'm still not really entirely clear on this. Why did he suffocate Cheryl?
To break Sadiq, right? That was Sadiq's calming influence, right? Because he would go in there and talk to her, and she would give him all this words of wisdom, and he would go in there to rest and all this. And he needed Sadiq just completely drained and exhausted and just riding on fumes.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. That's a good answer.
Because she was telling him, like, no, you need to figure it out. Get some rest. Take some sleep. Sit down here.
Right. And
It'll come to you. The answer will come to you.
I'm ready to go. You need to take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need any of that pep talk garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, this is in my notes. Slight rabbit hole. The other really good television commercial that was in this episode was for Picard.
So I'm going to have to get CBS All Access now.
Because that is the way I felt. Sonequa Martin Green almost had me there. Patrick Stewart's got me there.
Oh,
yeah, because you see the shot where he's talking with Riker.
Yeah.
I was just like that. So, all right. So for me, like, my parents got divorced when I was really young, and I would come down on the summers to live with my dad for the summers. And the one thing we would always watch at 10 o'clock on Saturday night was Star Trek Next Generation.
Very cool.
Right? So I've seen every episode of TNG forever. And he died like 10 years ago. But now that this is coming out again, I'm just like, oh my God, I got to get this. And I'm like, no, it's just going to be another money grab. And then I seen Riker, I'm like, yep, we're getting it. So it's got like a bunch of heartstrings.
Please.
Yep, here you go, take it.
Which credit card number do you want?
Yeah, you can have my Apple Card.
Yeah.
And I think I've probably mentioned this on the show. Jean-Luc Picard was one of my very first, like, celebrity, or Patrick Stewart was my very first celebrity crush. So, and he's like, now he's like twice my age. He's like pushing 80. I'm pushing 40. Anyway, his wife is the same age as me, so I do still have a shot. So,
dude, you're going to be 40 in a matter of days.
Right?
The other housewife and I were talking. Okay, Brian, plug your ears. First mammogram.
There's
that's better than getting a camera shoved in your ass.
That's another 10 years down the road.
I will tell you, there's nothing to mammogram, so I'll be fine.
I will tell you, men who have less to mammogram still get breast cancer. Get those suckers checked. That's your PSA for this episode.
My what?
Public service announcement, not your prostate-specific antigen.
So that was a question for me. I'm like, wait, what? You told me to plug my ears.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through notes again. I just had a lot of stuff about Dante being right, the society downfall, bad decisions, everyone's cracking and crumbling. And it's going to take somebody, the new hero, to stop and just say, time out. So stop. We're all cracking and crumbling. They're doing exactly what they wanted us to do.
Who is our new hero?
Aaron.
You think?
the scene between Aaron and Gracie.
That was a pretty sweet scene.
It was a sweet scene, but it kind of felt out of place in this episode in that, like, we're setting him up to be the moral compass. You know?
Which
like,
means you gotta die.
Right, I was going to say, let's hope not.
Right, because, like, it was just such a sweet moment with his daughter, and it just, yeah. I've been wondering about Gracie because we see so much Judith, and they were about the same ages. I think Gracie's a little younger, and they are just almost polar opposites. I mean, Judith is this little badass, and Gracie's really sheltered, I think. You know, she's the kind of the Maggie, where she could probably survive pretty well on her own, but she's more intellectual. Yeah. So, but it just that little scene between those two, I was just like, that's a weird thing to put in this episode. I don't know why. It just felt out of place, but it was cute.
For me, it was World Before stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing, and this is kind of just a little aside, but I actually thought it was very cool that Aaron's character was so matter-of-fact about being in love with a man.
Yeah. His daughter didn't bat an eye. That's just normal. That's,
Yeah.
Some people have 2 dads. Some people have 2 moms. Some people have 3 dads. Coco.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the My Three Dads actual TV show.
No, but wouldn't that be a funny spinoff?
Oh, that was My Two Dads. That was My Two Dads.
Yeah, that's right.
3 Men and a Baby.
That's
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, 90s movies.
I'm not sure I have a whole lot left.
I did love the scene where Judith cuts down Virgil.
Oh, where she cuts him, yes.
Yeah, and Michonne's like, good girl. I love that. That was just, it's such a great moment to see those two side by side with their katanas, like, holding the enemy back.
Yeah, definitely Gracie would not have done that.
No.
So do you think Michonne is going to come back with a lot of weapons? Is she going to come back broken? And is she going to come back like the episode before the season's over with like Rambo getting off the boat, just both guns going and save the day?
Well, so I read an interview with Angela Kang, and it does sound like she is definitely coming back. So it's not like she's going to sail off and get lost, and that's the last we ever hear of Michonne. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a Rambo moment happening.
So I read a theory, and I'm sorry I can't remember where I read it, but so it's not an original thought of mine, but I really liked it. Michonne goes over to the naval station, gets the weapons. There's a radio there, and she picks up something about Rick.
Oh, that's an interesting theory.
So she has to go back home to defeat the Whisperers, but after they're gone, she's like, peace out, I'm going to go find my husband.
And that would explain the, quote, hard decisions that Angela Kang keeps referring to that Michonne is going to have to make soon.
Yep, maybe.
Will she take the girl with her?
Judith?
I don't know how we're going to keep her
Judith
from...
to go find Dad.
Marn, I don't know that I agree. I don't know how you would keep a mom from taking her kids with her. I mean, maybe that's part of the hard decisions that she's going to have to make.
So you're kind of marching. I mean, you're marching off to a completely unknown. Are you going to put your child at risk, or are you going to leave her back with Maggie and Aaron where she's safe? Kind of. It's I'll go find Dad and I'll be back with him, or we'll send for you.
Sidestep, the World Beyond trailer that they showed. Mm-hmm. It all featured those 3 circles, the group that took
total
Rick.
CRM stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, constantly. They were on every uniform, helicopter, everything.
Yep. Yeah. So I really liked that theory about how we're gonna lose Michonne, and maybe she'll come back and just deliver the weapons and be like, "All the best, hope you win," you know.
Maybe it's like, I'm dropping them on the beach. Here's where you can come get them.
Yep. Maybe that's the hard decision she has to make, whether she stays and fights with her people or she goes and looks for Rick. But this I'm going over to the naval base with this guy to get the weapons is going to be the catalyst for her setting off to find Rick. Dun dun dun.
What if Maggie comes back and she knows where Rick is?
That could happen. But then why wouldn't she bring Rick with her?
See, I don't think Rick's going to get revealed until the movie comes out. I don't see that happening.
I think you're right. I mean, I think that she might go off chasing a rumor of Rick, but I don't think we're going to have anything definitive about Rick until the movies.
But how would they have a rumor about Rick?
Like if she, I think the thing that Marn was talking about, where she thinks she hears something about Rick on the radio, maybe.
Yeah.
But how Rick's going to be like a science experiment, or is Rick now like a bad lieutenant and whatever? Because what are we at, like 6, 7, 8 years in the future from when he was on the helicopter?
I don't know. He'll probably be referred to as the sheriff or something on the radio, Sheriff Rick, or so. Like he'll have a nickname or something that it'll spark something in her. You know. I don't know.
Or maybe she thinks she hears his voice on the radio, but he's just like calling shots, doing something else.
Yeah.
Or what if she runs into the trash lady?
Oh, Jadis. Yeah.
Well, and
what
so
if she
we
hears
are
Jadis's name?
Yeah. I mean, we are going to have, I think, more about Jadis. I don't think we've heard the last of Jadis.
Because then she'd be like, wait, where the hell did she go?
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's kind of inquired about her. Gabe got over her real quick. Too many years in the
future now. Yeah, I mean, it's so far in the future, right?
Yeah.
We just moved on from everything and hoping you forget about it too, so that we don't sit up late night in a closet at midnight brainstorming where these people are. And it smells like farts in here too.
God, what kind of loser would do that?
Oh, that's funny.
I think that's where we go. I think that's my big call is society crumbles just as Dante predicted. Everybody consolidates on the major trade route of Hilltop.
I like the idea of the consolidation of the communities. I think that's...
Because it can't be anywhere else. It has to be at Hilltop because, A, it's never been overrun. The wall fell because of the tree, but... that's where the Commonwealth knows, too. The Commonwealth knows that. So you can't just abandon it and hope they find Alexandria, because apparently nobody finds the entire village in the middle of the woods with giant solar panels reflecting off everything.
Well, and it's a very strategic point because, it sits on a hilltop, you know? So they have started clear cutting around them for farmland, but that also enables them to see things coming from a long distance off. So strategically, it's probably their best bet.
I agree. That's my big call for for what, March, April, whenever it's over.
All right, Brian's bold prediction for the last half of this season.
Will we see a baby die?
That's what I thought that they were alluding to with Beta in Rosita's house. It looked like he was like over Coco's bassinet.
That's
or something.
totally
like,
how it looked. Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you not reason with people, right? So when Erin is talking with Gamma and she's like, babies are weak, you know, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then just be like, all right, so time out. So what's your end game then? You're just going to all grow old and then die and that's it? So then what are you even doing now then? Why don't you just go die somewhere?
Right?
Like, that's where I get, you know, whatever, right? We don't know the whole conversation. He could have talked to her about it. But I don't know. It makes me mad.
Well, and maybe it goes back to what you were talking about them being like really indoctrinated, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it even goes back to the guard, right? They said the most loyal are the ones who guard the herd. That guy got captured. He cracked, and then he snapped back into brainwash mode and spit the jelly sandwich and was like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Which had to be like, shit, give me another one. Where you want? You got a shower? I'll tell you everything.
Right?
Y'all got life in here? Or, he's like, it always crumbles. Actually, Alexandria's been here for about 15 years now, and we've been doing just fine. 15 years? Yeah, we've been here 15 years.
And so here's the thing. I was kind of thinking that when Dante was talking about all it takes is, a few cracks, and it's like, well, then why do you have to put them there intentionally? Sure, a building is going to crumble if you go down to the foundation and create cracks that weren't there to begin with, Like, if you intentionally sabotage something and then it blows apart, that's not a malfunction of the machine. That's you sabotaging it, right? Yeah.
And is Negan going to be the one to kill Beta here? Is that how this is going to go?
I think so.
Really? You think he's going to kill Beta?
Or is he going to be the one who just straight up kills Alpha?
I think he kills Alpha.
And he's like, see what I did for you guys?
I'm heavily influenced by the way the comic books were written.
Oh,
so
I don't know.
So maybe I should bow this one out.
Well, okay, I hope that Carol finally gets her kill. I hope she finally gets Alpha and gets some closure, and we can get off of this storyline. And I kind of hope it's Daryl that takes out Beta, just because those two have gone toe-to-toe before, and Daryl thought he killed him, but he made the mistake of, not making sure somebody was dead when you leave them for dead. So I hope it goes that way, but I really think that Negan's going to be the one to take out Alpha. Heck, maybe it'll be Lydia or Gamma.
Right, Lydia's a wild card. We still don't know anything about her.
Moody teenage girls.
She's got to get killed, though, right?
You think so?
What if Beta finds her and then makes Alpha kill her?
I like that. That's
wow,
great.
Because Beta was super pissed when he found like her building the crib and shit at the old site.
Yeah.
It was like, you lied. And he kind of left it, and he could capture her and be like, nah, you're going to kill her now.
Yep.
You kill her or I kill you. And her, both.
Or he comes back wearing her face.
Oh, yes. That would be the best. Got a new mask.
Oh, I always have to take it one step too far.
Or what if that's Negan's mask and he doesn't know any better? And he just like walk around and be like, what's up?
Lydia's face on. Oh, man. I don't know. A lot can happen. And we are way off book.
I don't know. I like it. I'm more enjoying Walking Dead this season than I have in the last two, easily.
Absolutely.
And that's because it just keeps me guessing, right? I'm away from source material. I don't read that stuff anymore, so I get to enjoy it and kind of what's coming and be surprised by the twists and turns, and it makes me feel like I used to feel about the show.
Yeah.
It's engaging.
Yes.
It is absolutely engaging.
So, Dad, do you have any listener feedback for us?
I don't think I have any real feedback. I talked about the hat tip that we are giving to Victoria for letting us know about Black Summer. That was the only thing I really had.
Okay.
Am I missing something?
I don't know. I thought we had one.
There was one guy that you guys are talking. While you look, I'll talk. There was one guy in the listener feedback. He talked about Sadiq not finishing his arc, and I think that's the beautiful part of where we are now in the show again, because not everybody gets to live, and not everybody gets to finish their story arc where you see it coming. Oh, okay, here's the big death. Here's how it's going to end. Your thing is Sadiq's got it till the end of the season, and it's like, nah, you're dead now, right now. And you're just like, whoa, I did not see that death coming. And that's what makes me happy, is that you don't see it coming anymore. Nobody knew that it was going to happen, and it did. And that's why I like this stuff now.
I would say that, and then just the really good horror vibe that we've had throughout the whole season, too. That they've really been honestly borrowing from some good horror movies, you know?
Yeah, Sadiq's nightmares. That, like I said, the last episode, the one where the arms are coming out of the couch, it reminded me so much of like a Freddy Krueger nightmare that I'm traumatized. So there was something that Pedro told us to watch. Do you remember that?
I don't, and I am not on Facebook actively looking. So, Pedro, if you're out there...
Oh, no, you know what? It was you, Overlords.
Oh, yeah. Bri, have you seen that?
What?
The movie Overlord. It's a J.J. Abrams property, and it's basically like Inglourious Bastards meets
Zombie
The
Nazis.
Walking Dead.
No, I haven't.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So maybe we will have to review it during the hiatus if we can get Preacher in the can.
Right, we totally have to do that. Which, by the way, I saw my tattoo artist for a touch-up on Saturday. Got her hooked on Preacher. So Saturday, she watched the first ever episode, and yesterday I got a text from her saying, yeah, we've got one episode left in season 1.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, maybe we'll review Overlords or Overlord.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's all that I had, I think.
Well, I don't have anything else other than threatening the two of you with a protein bar in the mail, so look for that in your Christmas packages.
Giddy up.
Oh, any of you two have anything else?
I am tapped.
I think
it's past Brian's bedtime.
Busy weekend, so I'm right there with Bri.
Yeah, so if you don't listen to anything but the main show, we will talk to you next spring, but please check out any of our other shows between now and then. Like I said, we're going to try and get Preacher in the can.
Yes,
and then maybe do some other stuff. Yeah.
Also, if you have any unused Pokemon cards that are sitting in boxes in your basement, please feel free to reach out to the show and donate them to my son.
Yes. We would be happy to forward them on to Brian's kiddo.
I will pay for shipping.
I am sure somebody out there has a Rubbermaid tub of Pokemon cards.
Hell yes.
Which, by the way, Charmander is my favorite.
I can't wait for
Amigurumi.
those things are going to be awesome.
He is totally my favorite Amigurumi. Him and the Demogorgon.
So
Super
funny.
cool.
It is. Well, thank you, Brian, for joining us on our mid-season finale.
Yes, ladies, as always, a fun opportunity to hide in a closet, talk to my Alaska honeys, and have a fun night. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Tell your wife thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always up for a threesome.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Just remember, take it
one
Day
day
at a time.
Yay. Perfect.
You know, for someone who
And with
originated that on this podcast, you're doing a really good job screwing it up, Brian.
Oh, I love being back.
I sprung it on him.
That is so funny.
All right, everybody.
Have a good week.
See ya.
Bye.
Have a good week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving. That's right. And happy Christmas
Gobble,
to anybody
gobble.
who's going to peace out until the series comes back.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
All
all
right.
of them.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.